Cafe. At Beacon, we keep our promise. Renwick.
Unmatched bargains, top with friendly and reliable staff. Come to S. Kumar Variety Store.
We plan for every major life event, from birthday parties to baptisms, and celebrating a life well lived deserves the same thoughtful planning. Beacon's Rest Easy plan is designed to give your loved ones the comfort of knowing that they can do just that. With no underwriting and cover for up to 6 family members that includes certain injuries, this plan can be yours for as little as 75 cents per day. Call us at Beacon or log on to beacon.co.tt for more info today.
2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6.
Education multiplies their chances and places the world of opportunity in their hands. No matter where they are in the world, make sure they're prepared for their journey back to school with Western Union. School fees, books, room and board, whatever the reason. Knowledge, independence, opportunity. Western Union, moving money for better.
And we are back with your ladies' room for today, Tuesday, November 16th. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, wherever you are hearing the sound of my voice. So good to have you here. Good morning, Kevon. Good morning, Christelle. Sugar Babe. Good morning, Cleolyn. Good morning, Andrea, Talia, Deborah, Leno, Narissa. Good morning. So happy to see so many of you ladies in here already. And like I said, this morning it's one morning that I really need more women in here as well as the men. All right. Good morning, Reginald. We need you guys in here. You know, it's important that we support each other as best as we can, especially when we're having these topics. And we've had my guests here before, but you know, we're looking at today's topic from a different angle. A lot of the times we try to break down and we try to analyze domestic violence and the why it happens and the who and where and what have you. But a lot of the times we don't pay attention to after, you know, the victims, those who've lived it, you know, what they go through, you know, and how, of course, they can use what they've been through to teach other women, so they too can get out of certain situations they find themselves in, sometimes to no fault of your own. You know, you're in love and you're happy and you're thinking this person is all that and a bag of chips. And later on, you start seeing, you know, things happening. And sometimes you saw the things before, but you dismissed it. You know, the things that we call the red flags, and you're like, okay, you know, maybe it'll just my imagination, or maybe it's, you know, not a big deal, and then it gets to a bigger deal. Yeah. So we're gonna have a really, really nice conversation this morning surrounding that. And of course, soon as you come on in, would love if you guys can share the live, and you know, invite a couple of your friends to join us for this morning's conversation as well. Alrighty, so like I said, it's gonna be one of those days. And I know some folks who already messaged me and said, you know what, I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna be quiet because I'm experiencing this. You know, I'm experiencing this. I had a couple folks reach out to me already, to express um their feelings regarding it. So let me just bringing my guest and tell you a little bit. She's going to tell you a little bit more about herself in the process. But before we introduce her, you know, like I said, we talk about domestic violence and how horrible it is, while forgetting the victims and the process they have to undergo to heal So today in the room, we will be speaking to this brave, powerful, dimensional creative. She's a teacher, she's a healer, she's an entrepreneur. We refer to her as Natural, and she's going to share her story and tips to women who have experienced or is currently experiencing violence and abuse. All right. So, like I said, it's going to be a very, very sensitive conversation this morning. So, come on in the room, guys, ladies as well as men. We need you here. All right. It's a conversation for everyone. Natural. Good morning. How are you, my sister?
Uh, Greetings. First of all, I want to thank you for all that you do. I follow you, and the topic is always interesting. And because you always find a way to have fun with the topics, they be some serious topics. I'm talking topics that plague our community. So, I want to thank you for inviting me here for this one. I got to be honest with you. I really was hesitant. I was hesitant because this is a topic where you really have to go deep inside to heal from, even to talk about it. And so when I got the call from my son, my SUN son, he said, "Ma," he said, "Do you have any experience in violence against women? And if so, have you ever been a victim? And do you know that I froze?" And the freezing wasn't about having to think, had I been a part of it. It was just, wow, am I ready to go inside? Because it's an inside job. It's an inside job, and it's the only way we get to recover and get back on our feet and move forward is by going inside. And so many of us refuse to go inside. So I want to thank you for having me, and I'm ready now. But I really did not feel like going inside today.
I am happy that you decided to
Yes.
go inside and come here to do that, because like we said, it is the ladies' room.
Yes.
It is, we call this a safe place. It's a safe space,
Yes.
And I like to refer to my audience as the best. It's a sort of non-judgmental zone. And I really appreciate that. I don't even have to tell my viewers or the folks tuning in, hey, please be respectful of my guests. I don't ever have to do that because they all come in with that energy, realizing, you know what, here is a safe space and we can have that conversation and we can, talk about it and, they can give their 2 cents and, we leave at the end of the day saying, yeah, I really learned something today, good conversation. So that's what we do. We don't do interviews, we do conversations. So I'm happy that you said that because a lot of the times we take care of the outward appearance, we put on the makeup, we put on the outfit that fits us well and we look good and put on the most expensive cologne, we smell good, and you get up, you get ready for the world, you open the door and you head out there with a smile on your face and everybody sees you and you're like, wow, this person, she's filled with so much confidence, she looks good. And sometimes you hear it, and I can use myself as an example, and you're like, wow, that's what people see you on the outside, but they don't know that when you go back and you take off the makeup and you're in your own place, that we all go through stuff, we all experience stuff,
Yes.
and domestic violence, especially living on a small rock as ours, we need to get to a place where we normalize that domestic violence is not okay, and it's okay for folks to have the conversation. And we have to start from the top up or the top down, wherever we choose to stop. We have to start somewhere, because I'm sure there's somebody who knows of somebody who's been a
Yes.
victim, who's experienced
Yes.
domestic violence, or you probably lived in a home where you saw your mother being abused, or even fathers, because I have men who came out this morning and said, listen, we are also victims here. There are women who, really batter us because, of whatever, we don't speak up, the stigma, and you don't want to sound like, a little wuss, so you don't say anything. So you take your abuse in silence, but there are also men. But from your experience, walk us through your personal experience and what does domestic violence do to a person?
Well, first of all, like I said, when I got the call, I froze and I kind of went to the dictionary. And just because sometimes people would think they know the meaning of words and they'll sit there and then they'll count themselves out and they'll either say, oh, it's not that bad or it's not me. So my personal experience is on my entire life. That's what the freezing was about, because the spirit took me back, way back, to parts I hadn't even tapped into. I was coming from a latter part of my life. So while I have not been beat or banged by another person, I want to start with being a child because we're talking about violence. We're talking about domestic violence, violence against whoever, men, women, and we have to go way back. So I went back to just living in a neighborhood where it was complete violence, complete violence. Um,
And where was that?
I'm born in America. I'm
Mhm.
born in America. I've been here in Grenada 5 years, and I see it just as heavily here. But I want to go back to because really violence is a family disease. It don't have to be you. Excuse me, but I watch my sister from a child. I'm the youngest of 9, so she's the oldest of the 9. I keep adjusting my ear,
Mhm.
and she had 3 children by a man. And he beat her so bad the entire duration of the 3 children that I literally, do you know, it's a dog that has white around his eyes. You ever see
Mhm.
that dog,
Mhm.
whether it's a cartoon or TV? It's a black
Mhm.
dog, but he got white rings around his
Mhm.
eyes. I always equated that dog to my sister. And I would say, wow, my sister got eyes like that because she always had a black eye. And every day, every Friday when she got paid, he would follow her from her job, kicking her literally in her backside and taking her paycheck from her. So by the time she get home, she had no paycheck,
Oh
2
wow.
black eyes, and bruises all over her entire body. So I'm telling you, this is my big sister, and I'm the youngest of 9. Remember, I'm a child watching this. And I said, wow. So I literally watched my father fire shots at him. I got to tell the truth. This was
Mhm.
back then. And so when they would get to the courthouse, the judge would say, well, if it was my daughter, I would have did the same thing, sir. You have a good day. No arrest, no nothing. So that was the beginning of seeing as a young girl, because if you beat my sister where I come from, you beat me. That's where I come from. And it affects everybody. I'm talking mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. It don't matter if it's happening to you. You best believe your children will be affected later on in life, or
Mhm.
your sisters
Mhm.
and brothers. So
I'm
that,
happy you raised that point though,
yes.
because a lot of the times you hear women saying, you know what, I know it's bad, but I'm staying because of
Oh
the
my.
children.
Oh my. That's
I
the
don't want to
worst.
break up my home. I don't want to take my children away from their father.
Mm,
So I'm staying because
mm. Because
and not realizing
mm,
and they're thinking they're protecting their children and they're actually doing something good for your child, but
mm-mm,
actually you're not.
no,
Children aren't
no,
those little people aren't as stupid as we think
mm-mm,
they are,
no, they're
you
not.
know?
Mm-mm,
So when you're thinking you're protecting them,
mm.
you're actually hurting them in the
You're
process.
hurting them.
Because I've had that conversation with my mother when I got old. I was like, why didn't you leave?
Yes.
And they honestly think that you would hate them if
Mm-mm,
they leave the home
mm-mm,
or take you away from your father.
mm. And that's so twisted. That's such a twisted. We were raised on such misinformed information. That's what I'm gonna call it. Because there's no way you get to stay somewhere. All 3 of those children I just told you about, those nieces and nephews to that sister, they are damaged. My oldest nephew, he beats women, literally every woman he has. I've tried to sit down and talk to him, nephew. And the daughter, if any man even looked like he get ready, raise his hand at her,
She
she,
snaps.
he be the one running down the street calling the police. She's that on,
Sort of
she's
aggressive person.
traumatized.
Hmm.
She's traumatized. And the other
So I'm
son,
gonna hit you first before you hit me.
yeah, before you, he might not even be ready to hit her. She just watched it. And my sister was also raped in the midst of all that at one point, and her son could do nothing about it. As he watched. So he's the one that beats, that feeling powerless. See, I counseled women for 16 years.
Hmm.
I was a mental health therapist, substance abuse therapist for 16 years. So I got to hear all the excuses why people stay. We cried together. We rolled on floors together
Hmm.
because it's so entrenched in you. When you damage, listen at the definition I wrote down of violence.
Mhm.
Behavior involving physical force intended. That means your intentions are to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something.
Hmm.
we are damaged. And that's where the recovery comes in. Kill someone or something. You can kill a spirit. The spirit is the first thing to go. So I'm sitting here before you now, but if my spirit goes and depression sets in, you can see that all on me. So I'm just a dead body walking around, dead man walking, we call it.
Mhm.
So you have a whole lot of people walking around in such pain. Their spirit is going, and you can see it. You can see those signs you talked about. Thanks for mentioning those. Because me being the youngest, we talking about abuse against women. So women got to be girls first. So I'm a product of incest. That means my brother performed a sexual act on me at 9. You're talking about violence.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what's wrong with him? So anyway, it's just so sad. So then that happens to me. And then in turn, we're talking about levels of violence. Violence comes in levels. So in turn, I begin to use drugs and alcohol really, really bad.
You can take off the headphones if you want to be comfortable.
Can I take them off
Yes,
and
you
still
can.
be heard?
Yeah,
No,
you hear me.
because they were
Yeah.
doing something like flipping around or something. I don't
Is
know
that
what was
no?
happening.
You have this, yeah. I
Yes.
want you to be in your.
So I'm a product of incest. And it was just so sad because after that, watching my sister be beat, coming up, nobody really talking about it in the house besides the few times my father tried to step in, but she kept going back to this man. See, it becomes insanity after a while. It has nothing to do with love and my children's father. You become the product of it. You start acting really just like the person that's doing it to you. You can't figure out who's worse. It's just like a person doing drugs. It becomes such an insane way. This is my 24th year free from drugs and alcohol, right? And I still remember it
Oh my gosh, you've been through it all.
like it was yesterday. But I was
Incest.
sitting on incest.
Drug.
I was sitting on watching the violence my entire life. I was sitting on watching my father always have somebody outside the relationship on my mother. See, it wasn't acceptable in my home, but he still did it. And then my father ended up being somebody else because my mother couldn't take it no more. So she went out and did what she did. So I find out at a certain age, we're talking about just violence in the home. We can stick right there if we want to. And that can last this whole entire time we're on this show.
Mhm.
And why people stay. It's just so mixed up. You know, Aruna, when you called me this morning, all this came up. And I said, I don't want to think about all of this right now. But one thing I know for sure is when it's time to heal,
You gotta
this
go
is
within.
what has to
You
happen.
has to go-
You
you
got to
have
be
to.
willing to give it away. You don't get a gift as precious as this. 24 years later, you just heard that's just half the story. Because I begin to abuse myself. Wasn't nobody doing it. The active addiction, you hurting yourself in the way the things I took myself through an active addiction. Nobody could
what
have
was the
ever done
purpose?
that to
You were
me.
trying to
Not
numb the
feel,
pain or
not feel any of it from 9 years old on
So
up.
what sort of drugs are we talking here?
We're
The
talking
weed?
smoking crack.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
we're talking smoking crack, sister. At 26 years old, what 26-year-old woman from 26 to 33?
Mhm.
No, 26, you should be in university or something.
Dating, enjoying
Something,
life.
starting a business, dating, all of that went by me. I thought about today how dating went by me. So now that 58, you're going to be 58 next month, trying to date is foreign. Because I be checking myself. See, this is what recovery is about.
Mhm.
You acknowledge it and you call it what it is. You start saying exactly what it is. You no longer say, my brother performed a sexual act on me. No, you got to call it what it is. No, he laid me down, performed oral sex, and he took the back of my neck and pulled it towards his penis and put that shit in my mouth. Excuse my language. Today, nobody can go like this. Today. I'm just saying how you affected. So why 24 years later, I'm still healing myself.
So as part of your healing, did you ever have that conversation with him? Is he still?
He just died.
Oh my gosh.
I traveled to Antigua last January, this time last year to Antigua. And I got a call from my eldest sister. She said, she called his name, you know, our brother died. And the only thought I had was, wow, he didn't even get to apologize. It's the only thought I had. And I said, wow, God, what was that? He didn't even get to apologize. That was the only thought I had. I spent my time in Antigua, which was a month, and I came back here. He's gone now. I hope he found peace. And I'm going to tell you what I do around that set of violence. I've been working on healing for 24 years. And it's
Do you ever
steps.
completely heal?
No, you hear me say healing, ing, because no, you go to your grave, you get better. It gets better every day. And I'm gonna give you an example. When he was living, and I would go home to America, I wouldn't hug him. I would never tell him I love him. And I'm a person that tell you, all right, see you later. I love you. Talk to you later. They say, naturally, you love everybody because that's who I am. I would never tell him I love him. And I surely would never leave nobody's children in the room with them. And I've had opportunities. My sister used to like to go to his house a lot when we were together.
Mhm.
And I would always want to sit in the car. And she would say, why do you want to sit in the car? Because I never told nobody what happened to me from 9 to 33. I told somebody at 33 years old. So it's clear why I smoke or drink. Oh, God, it's so much to this thing. It's just so much because it happens in levels. I got to keep talking about these levels. Something can't happen to you at 9. You never tell nobody till you're 33. You're going to smoke. You're going to do something. You're going to drink
in
yourself.
all that years, going back to the time frame,
Yes.
when that happened, you never spoke about it with anyone?
To 2 girlfriends.
No family member?
2
nobody?
friends. 2 friends. And I'm going
What
to
was
tell
your
you why
fear?
I didn't.
What was
Excuse
your-
me.
What was your fear? Why didn't you do it?
I'm going to tell you why. Remember, it happened at 9. So I go through life. And my mother always said, my mother had 7 girls. So we were never allowed to sit on no man's lap. She didn't care if it was Uncle John, Father Paul. She didn't care who it was. She was protective of her girls, but she missed her son. So she used to always say, natural, if anybody, her and my father would say, if anybody ever touch y'all in any inappropriate way, you tell us and we'll kill them. Now, I just told you I used to watch my father chase my sister's boyfriends away, and he used to be really shooting at them. They'd be sliding under cars. I used to be like, wow, that's kind of deep. So I know he would have shot him. I'm a child. And one thing, Michael, the son, was not his. He was my mother's. I know he would have. You're talking 9. So we got to be careful how we want to protect our children, but be careful how you present it to them. Because it could be their brother or their grandfather, which most of the times it is.
Hate it or like it, as small as
A
we are,
9-year-old
David
child's not going to
Vader
say it.
is known for, if you go to the court and check the
Yes.
records, incest and all those things.
It's fathers, uncles, normally nobody outside the house.
Uncles, cousins.
Yes. So now as later years went by, I was always kind of shut down. You talked about signs. I'm going to tell you a sign I just figured out this year on this island. I have a sister that passed away recently, and she used to always laugh and say, Natural was so mean when she was a child. She didn't laugh. She didn't smile. I had stopped laughing. And it just dawned on me this year. That brought tears to my eyes. That's 58. She said, you didn't even smile till you was 13. She used to laugh when she was saying it, but nobody knew what happened to me. And I said,
But that's a sign. You look.
that's
for
a
your children.
sign. They will shut down. They will you can see if your daughter or your son, you can see a difference in them. And I'm going to tell you another thing. See, a lot of people don't like it. It's easier to not deal with it. What mother want to deal with her son doing that to her daughter? But I'm going to tell you why I think my mother knew. All my parents are dead now.
Mhm.
Now, I walked in the house one day. She was on the phone with a friend, and he was coming home from military. He was a military man. And she said, he's coming home this week. She said, but he can't stay here because I got girls. What mother would say that about her own son?
Mhm.
Girls? The girls are his
It's
7
your-
sisters.
So it's your
But they got
brother.
So I believe she had an inkling, but it was easier to not deal with it. Surely back then. And he had high mental health issues. This is why we can make this a whole mental health session if we want to, because mental health is real, Aruna. And people have to stop acting like it's not real. That's why I don't call people crazy anymore. We used to laugh and say, oh, girl, you crazy. I don't do that because mental health is real. And I know my brother suffered from it. It's the only way I'm able to get this far. So while he just passed away, I didn't hate him anymore for the amount of work I've done on me. But like I said, I didn't hug him. I didn't tell him I love him. And I wasn't going to leave nobody's children with him. We had my niece with me one time. And my sister, that same sister, we stopped by his house. She said, come on in, please. And I was like, oh, God. So I went in, got my niece. And my niece said, I got to go to the bathroom. He said, I'll take her. I said, oh, no, you won't. And I took her. He just looked at me. and that was it.
And you see, because
Mhm.
and I know there are a lot of parents who can relate to what you're
Mhm.
saying, and a lot of
Absolutely.
folks who've been through it
Mhm.
can relate so well to what you're saying, because and especially now, like back in the day, parents, you'd be like, okay, a village raises the child, and
Mm.
everybody look out for everybody,
Mm.
not realizing that
Not realizing
some of the things actually happened,
it happened
and
right there.
children didn't say anything because, like you said, again, the fear,
Because it could
the
very, if
shame.
it's your grandfather and you know the type of family, my father always kept a handgun present in his car when he drove. One was in the middle of the seat. If he let you use his car, your feet would hit one. It was just when he died, we removed 3 of them out the drawer. It was just, he was a Southern man and they just believed in protecting their family. They kept handguns. They did. But he would have used it. I've seen him use it.
So now on this journey of to healing, because imagine you're saying
Mhm.
you're at 58,
Yes, next
you
month.
next month, it dawned on you this year.
This year, I was doing something, talking to somebody. We were sharing something, just honoring ourselves. And I thought about the sister that passed, how she used to really say, "You were mean. Like, you wouldn't laugh. You didn't even smile." And I said, wow, it never dawned on me that I had stopped smiling. And I was mean. I remember me being mean. That was how I dealt with it.
To protect
And then
you.
later on, when I couldn't handle the mean no more, I went to drugs and alcohol. See, this is what happened. You got to tell somebody. You got to tell somebody. You got to have, this is the stuff I had to forgive myself for. Forgiveness is a big part of you. Have to be able to say somebody hurt me, even if they don't believe you. Then you tell the next person. I was a teacher in Antigua and Barbuda for 3 years. I was on that compound 3 weeks, and 3 little girls came to me and said, "My grandfather won't leave me alone at home." I said, "Well, baby, I'm a new teacher. Please, have you told the principal? Have you told somebody else? I mean, please." Yeah, I told them all. And I'm
And
like, what?
nothing.
I said, "Well, do you mind if I go to the principal, because I can't keep this to myself?" And I went to the principal and he said something that really didn't make sense. He tried. He said, "Well, Natural, she's been saying this for the 3 years she's been in this school, and we've had people visit her home, and they're supposed to be removing her." Supposed to be? Why don't they have a system set up to remove them?
That unfortunately is one of the
And I know
disadvantages in
resources are
Caribbean
limited
islands.
on our islands. I know they are, but we got to do better. We got to do better.
And that's one of the things women who are in domestic violence situations,
Mhm.
one of the things they say, well, I ain't got nowhere to go. Where do I go?
Oh,
I can't go back
okay.
home. My parents wouldn't have me. And then there's this thing of, okay, I go to the pastor, and the pastor is saying,
Mhm.
y'all work it out. Come for some counseling,
No, that's
and
not nothing
y'all
to
work
work
it
out.
out.
Mm-mm. Because you damage a person. A girl has to grow into a woman. I've been in recovery for 24 years seeking counseling people, trying to help us all get on course. And that's a major part of it. You have to find somebody who understands what you're talking about. It don't have to be somebody who's been through it. You have to find somebody who has enough skill and knowledge and compassion to understand you. We do sister circles. We do everything. We cry. We heal. And I'm really considering starting a sister circle here. I
I
don't
would
care if
love
it's
to be
under
part
a
of it.
tree. I don't care where it happens
I would love to
at
be
this
part of it.
point, because we have to heal. The damage is here. I can see it walking down the street. See, one can see one. I can walk down the street and see mental health because I work with it for so many years. I can walk down the street. I'm a market person. I can look out my window and see addiction. I'd be like, wow, there go I. There go I.
Someone here is saying, Andre is saying the amount of training we undergo, even as of course she's out in the US, the amount of training we undergo, even as daycare providers, we have to be able to recognize the signs. We're
Yes,
mandated reporters. So maybe
yes.
that is something that is missing here as well, even within the schools and the daycare.
Mhm,
Because if you listen to the news, I
mhm.
mean, babies,
It happens all the
babies.
time. Every day in America. I'm from America. Every day, babies are being abused. I don't even know how you find attraction to a baby. I don't even know how you want to put your penis or anything up against a baby. I don't know how, but it happens every day. And I think about me coming through school, nobody noticed. And I had some wonderful teachers I still admire today, who were awesomely wonderful. But if they
Didn't see
did
any
notice, they
sign
kept it to
themselves.
themselves. maybe it was too much, because you got to be ready to go all the way in when you confront these
That's my
kind of
question.
things.
My next question. What my next question was
Yes.
going to be on this journey to healing. What are some of the things you look for? What do you encounter along that healing journey?
You got to look at the behavior of the child, how children interact with other children. Some children will hit children. You look at how they play with their toys. Some children will take dolls and put them on top of each other and try to make them do things that you know they seen. You be like, well, you got to pay attention to that. Those are signs when children shut down and just sit like this all the time and don't want to smile, don't want to play. Something is wrong. When children don't want to go home, they try to do anything and everything not to go home. It's a whole lot of signs. Relationships, just with other people. I'm talking about children and teen relationships, introvert and stuff like that. Not that that has to be it. Normally, children that set fires have been molested. This is statistic-wise, just stuff I learned over the years. You just gotta pay attention. Conversations. That's why I don't care what platform I have when it has to do with youth. And I've been a teacher on several occasions. We have plenty of conversations. We probably have more conversations than lesson conversations in our lesson plans, because you can tell by their answers on things, how they answer, how they see the world. You can tell. Then whether you're going to deal with it or ignore it, that's another thing.
Story.
But you can see the signs.
Now, as part of your personal healing, though, along the way, what are some tips on healing? How do you encourage?
You know what?
that?
I wrote these down for a reason, because this is something I've been doing for 24 years. First of all, like I said, you have to surrender to the pain. And when I say surrender to the pain, that means to accept and acknowledge. See, you got to call it what it is. You can't just keep saying something happened. Oh, my mother said she wished I was never born. No, why did your mother say that? See, you got to go a step deeper. We will sit here and listen to you, but if you really want to heal, so that's the first step. Accept what has happened to you. Acknowledge it. And it's a process, and it requires some assistance, but you got to accept it and acknowledge it. And that requires calling it what it is. Until you can call it what it is, then you'll be stuck for a very long time. That's the first step. The second one, you have to tap into a power greater than yourself. Now, whoever you serving, just make sure you trust and believe, because it's an inside job. There's nothing no doctor can do for you recovering from this type of damage. You're going to have to go inside of you. It's spiritual in nature. The whole recovery process really is spiritual. So you got to tap into a power greater than yourself. You really do. That's two. Then you got to make a decision. Probably the biggest thing you have done in a long time was make a conscious decision. I want to heal. I want to do better. I don't want to live like this. I am worth so much more. Drug dealers used to come into the different houses where we waiting on them, and they would look over there and say, who's that? What's she doing here? They knew I didn't even look like I belonged there. Do you understand what I'm just saying? It's that deep. So you got to make a decision. What you going to do? Are you going to continue playing victim? That's why I froze when my son asked me, Ma, are you a victim? You're a victim when you say you are. See, I'm no longer a victim. I am well on my way to healing. I am way over. I got a head start on quite a few people, and I have to be there for the ones coming behind me. That's the only reason why I'm here this morning. I don't want to be here for real, but I have to, because there's a whole slew of people. Last time I did this, I believe on your show, where we talked about something. A sister came down from country. I was at my booth, and I seen her coming to me, and tears was coming down both eyes. She said, I heard you on the Aruna show. Are you natural? She fell into my chest, and we cried for about 20 minutes.
You don't even know why you were crying.
Gosh, you're make me cry now. We just cried. She said, I never heard nobody share to this extent. You told my story. She said, I'm so overprotective with my daughter. I only want to leave my daughter with her father because I don't know how to trust nobody, because it happened to me.
You see, that's the thing. Because I speak to women, and it's not like they don't want to talk, but it's like there's this fear of, okay, you know what? I'm the victim. Why are you making it seem as though I am?
Yeah, but you know what? Yes, you are the victim. I was victim when I was 9, and he was 22 years old, home from the military, a grown man. I was a victim. I was a child. You're right. It's not your fault. But at 58, I am not a victim. I can do something about it. I can get up. I can tell myself the truth about the wonderful person I am. I can continue on with my life, live every dream that I ever inspired. Listen, whatever my heart desires, and nobody can hurt me. Nobody. You would need my permission to hurt me. You can't hurt me anymore. And you have to, and these few steps, a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. I really want to do like 6 of them because I'm going to tell you why. Searching and fearless, not fearful, fearless. Inventory is your entire life. Everybody you ever slept with, why you slept with them, what you doing. Because see, when you live through this process and take these steps, it allows you to tap into you. Because see, the only way the creator can help you is you're going to have to now set yourself up to acknowledge everybody needs to be forgiven about something. You, me, everybody. Nobody's perfect. So when you tap into your own stuff, you'll see that you ain't really got no room to judge nobody. And it's not taking the focus off of the people that really hurt you, but it's setting you up really for forgiveness. You got to find a way. You can't heal. You cannot heal if you don't find a way to forgive. Now, forgive don't mean you got to be around them, sit with my brother, hug him, tell him I love him, ever be around him again. The forgiveness is about you, Natural. It's not about him. It's not about the other person because he denied it till his grave. One of my sisters mentioned it to him. Did you really do that to our sister? He said, no. I mean, who's going to say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're
I did that. I
really
mean,
going
who's
to-
going to say
Mhm.
I did it to her? Not who?
Mhm.
I ain't met nobody said. I think Oprah Winfrey's brother acknowledged it when she brought him on the show. But who's going to really? I don't know too many people. So the searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself and admit to God, yourself, and another human being. I told 2 friends. And once you admit to God, you got God on your side. All you got to do is follow.
Mhm.
And then you're going to make a list of the people that you harm. Because see, everybody got some little deep, dark secrets. And when you see that you done harmed a few people, may not be to the extent, and you see you ain't got no room to really judge nobody, it makes it a little easier to
Gotta-
forgive
you
somebody
gotta
else.
Accept responsibility.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Perhaps.
then you on your way, and it'll help you. It might sound a little off, but it has helped me tremendously. You got to set yourself up to forgive and make amends and watch what the universe will do with your spirit and everything. You'll be more closer to freedom than away from it. And you'll feel the difference. You'll notice it. And then you got to go share your experience, strength, and hope. You got to share. Wherever they ask you to go, you got to go. All them little girls sitting, you just said 3 little girls in Antigua came to you. You see it happening here. I've seen it happening in South Africa. I was in that village 2 years. And it's
is.
heavy in our race and our culture.
It is.
It's heavy.
It
And it
is.
ain't nobody down the street. It's Uncle John and Brother George and grandfather. We got to do better. And another thing, since we're talking about abuse and violence, I really wish men and women could come together more. Roundtable discussions. I mean, come together on every level, mentally, spiritually, because 95% of people that are raped are women. So leave a portion for the men because they do get abused and raped. But 97% of rapists are men.
Mhm. That's a fact.
That means you violating the goddesses. Hello? We've really got to do better. We got to come together or this thing ain't going to work. I mean,
Listen.
we have taken on the behavior of the slave master. And I don't want to go back 600 years, but that's what we done in our culture. We've taken on the behavior. When you mistreat us and beat us inside of a home and your children see it and you talk to us any kind of way. My father didn't talk so nice to my mother. He didn't. But my father couldn't read and write. He could write his name. Now, back then, most men had to plow the field. They had to not be educated. But if he's going to be your man, you got to honor and respect him. You can't talk to him any kind of way. You can't do that. And my mother was harsh with her mouth.
Listen, we need to have a conversation.
Ooh.
You have to do another conversation, another talk, another program on that.
Yes, because that's a whole nother
That's a
set of
whole nother
violence. I
set
can
of
tell you about
violence.
that part.
Mhm. So
And
we're
I
gonna
used to
do
say,
about that
Dad, get her,
part.
get her. Really, get her.
We're
You
gonna
know what I
do
mean?
that.
So that's a whole nother topic. But I'm just saying we can stick to wherever you want to stick. But violence against women and men it's a range. It's a broad range. So while this is good, we've been talking about this far too long now, people. We got to do something about it. I'm telling you, if we could get into these steps, because this is about a power greater than yourself and going inside. Ain't no doctor could give us no shot, no medicine. You might think you got mental health from it, all this stuff. Sis, you got to heal. You got to go inside of you. Brother, you got to heal. And nobody wants to go inside. It's too painful. Because all that got to come up. I told you,
have to confront it.
I just recognized I didn't smile this year. That meant going inside. See, I'm not afraid to go. When it's Smith and Natural, I need you to realize something this year.
You gotta go.
And I said, wow. I sat back. Woo, took a deep breath. I said, wow.
It makes you feel light, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It moves a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah. And you can smile afterwards. And then you go help somebody else. That last one would be service work. This is a service position. When I come in here, I'm serving my people. I'm not afraid to tell you this painful, trenching story that most people will go to their grave with. I know some people ain't going to tell nobody. They say, I ain't telling nobody. Well, you go here and die that way. You got to tell somebody.
You got to get it off.
You got to.
You got to take it off that weight.
Yeah.
Man, I could talk to you for the entire
I
day.
know, Aruna. I love our
like...
conversations. I do.
Listen, could you start? Let's do some work on this sister building.
Absolutely.
I would really love to be part of something like that.
I would love for you too. I'm gonna leave my card with you, and we will connect because I've been wanting to do it for a while.
A lot of other women, I'm sure, would love to.
And we need it. We need it. And right now, it's just been me and a few sisters. We'll find nice little spots. Last time we all went up the country, about 12 of us, and it was beautiful. Some couldn't even talk; they just cried, and that's okay too. And we'll hold you and hug you and just be there for you. And then the next time, maybe you can get some of it out. But it's a beautiful thing when you can sit and cry and nobody's judging you. That's a freedom right there. That's a healing process right there.
Listen, I'm getting some hands raising. So
okay, let's hear them.
So we definitely will have another. The thing about it is, I don't. We're gonna have to do a closer one because I find sometimes we do too long a gap, so people get sort of cold, and keep the fire burning. So
yes.
I'd love to continue the conversation, and of course looking on the other side of it, men, because we can't leave them out. Much
we
as
can't.
We
need them
to protecting our sisters. We can't leave the men out.
We surely can't. We surely can't. My heart cries for our brothers because we need them.
So the next topic is on the brothers.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll talk to you after regarding.
Why? Thank you so much. Can I leave my card outside?
Of course you
can.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. She's such a breath of fresh air. I swear we can talk for the entire day. Anyways, guys, it was a pleasure having you in the room this morning. Next week, definitely next week, Sheena. Gonna probably next Tuesday again. Yeah. Somebody said that to me. The follow-ups, we do the follow-ups too far apart, so sometimes the momentum gets lost. And you don't feel the pull and the connection and the interest. So we're gonna endeavor to keep it nice and together. So looking forward to that. I love speaking to her because sometimes you don't even have to say much because she's so expressive. It makes talking to very easy. I love having those sort of guests. You can just leave them, just give them a start, and they can handle themselves. She's just such a a ball of energy. Just love her. Anyways, guys, somebody says that's like the female Eddie. Say it like she means it. Yeah, you see, he branched off and doing his thing and left me here. So we'd love to have Natural in the room. So we had our edification Thursday, right? So we can have some Natural Tuesday. How about that? Anyways, guys, thanks so very much. Thank you so much to my friends at S. Kumar, Beacon Insurance, and Western Union for being part of the show. We'll be back again tomorrow. We got another guest tomorrow. So hope you guys can join me for that. All right. Until then, stay powered up.
Ladies' Room comes to you compliments of Beacon Insurance. Insurance is a promise to pay. At Beacon, we keep our promise. Renwick and Thompson and Subway.